last night's injury to Jordan Love really hit close to home for me, and I'm sure a lot of fans in Vikings Nation. I prepared a little something for Packers Nation. Hold on, let me grab my guitar real quick. Hold on a second. All right. I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes, a curiosity. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh, you're my boy, Jordan. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. I'm your host, Supreme. We made it to week 4 and my favorite new pastime, trolling Packer fans. I mean, crystal ball readings. I've been practicing and messing around with it a bit, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's working or not. This week, while messing around, I saw 2 teens laughing uncontrollably driving a streetcar or maybe a train. The girl was wearing a shower cap and dressed in pink, and the boy was wearing a blue muscle shirt. I also saw bacon with a Cinnamon Toast Crunch logo on it. I have no idea what to make of that. If you do, leave me a comment. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, because we're continuing our weekly experiment where the more likes and subscribes, the higher chance these predictions come true. So at the very least, FTP and smash that subscribe and like button. So let's get this party started.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Whoops, I meant to put a different record on. Oh, get a load of this. I don't got to use that tuning fork or say anything to get it going. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, looks like we're at the end of the first quarter. It's a close game. Vikings 6, Packers 0. Wow, their defense might be legit. Let's keep it moving. Oh, maybe not. It's the start of the third. Vikings 16, Packers 6. It's already looking like a blowout. Let's jump ahead a little bit. Okay, how about here? Nope, still winning. How about here? Nope, still winning. Wait, is Charlie Sheen our coach? Let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Let's dunk right here. Stats are looking pretty much like I thought. Wow, I'm speechless. There's no way. Vikings have 16 sacks in the game? I knew this was going to be an easy game, but holy moly. Everyone's chipping in. You get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack. This is a pleasant surprise. Well, there you have it. Damn, those Packers impressed me. I thought they would only score 2 field goals, but they got 3. Let me know in the comments how you think the game will go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you don't miss next week's prediction video. And stay tuned for tomorrow's Packers vs. Vikings preview. Until next time, Skol Vikings! Last night's injury to Jordan Love really hit close to home for me, and I'm sure a lot of fans in Vikings Nation. I prepared a little something for Packers Nation. Hold on, let me grab my guitar real quick. Hold on a second. All right. I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes, a curiosity. curiosity. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh, you're my boy, Jordan. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. I'm your host, Supreme. We made it to week 4 and my favorite new pastime, trolling Packer fans. I mean, crystal ball readings. I've been practicing and messing around with it a bit, but unfortunately, I don't know if it's working or not. This week, while messing around, I saw 2 teens laughing uncontrollably driving a streetcar or maybe a train. The girl was wearing a shower cap and dressed in pink, and the boy was wearing a blue muscle shirt. I also saw bacon with a Cinnamon Toast Crunch logo on it. I have no idea what to make of that. If you do, leave me a comment. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, because we're continuing our weekly experiment where the more likes and subscribes, the higher chance these predictions come true. So at the very least, FTP and smash that subscribe and like button. So let's get this party started.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Whoops, I meant to put a different record on. Oh, get a load of this. I don't got to use that tuning fork or say anything to get it going. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, looks like we're at the end of the first quarter. It's a close game. Vikings 6, Packers 0. Wow, their defense might be legit. Let's keep it moving. Oh, maybe not. It's the start of the third. Vikings 16, Packers 6. It's already looking like a blowout. Let's jump ahead a little bit. Okay, how about here? Nope, still winning. How about here? Nope, still winning. Wait, is Charlie Sheen our coach? Let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Let's dunk right here. Stats are looking pretty much like I thought. Wow, I'm speechless. There's no way. Vikings have 16 sacks in the game? I knew this was going to be an easy game, but holy moly. Everyone's chipping in. You get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack. This is a pleasant surprise. Well, there you have it. Damn, those Packers impressed me. I thought they would only score 2 field goals, but they got 3. Let me know in the comments how you think the game will go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you don't miss next week's prediction video. And stay tuned for tomorrow's Packers vs. Vikings preview. Until next time, Skol Vikings! All right. Not bad. Let me move back. Just playing a little prediction video while I got ready. Gonna do a little smoking, a little, fun stuff after work. Had a little, ate a couple tacos. But anyways, I want to start with a big announcement. I have become, wait, is it Michigan State or Michigan? I don't know. I should probably look into that more. Well, I've chosen a team, and it's Michigan State Wolverines. I think that's the team because they're within driving distance, and it sucks to miss out on like tailgating and all that fun stuff. Every single time I go to Minnesota for home games, or when I've been in like in Detroit for Lions Vikings games. Tailgating is a lot of fun, and I wish I did a lot more of it. And with the Wolverines, maybe I can hit a couple of those throughout the season as my love for the team evolves from just a little bit to hopefully a diehard. We'll see. A little too close, a little too soon to tell. Yeah, I wanted to go over a few things. A little bit of going over some preview of the game, things, the keys to success, in my opinion, my X factor, a prediction, as well as the unlikely hero that I think is going to really come up big in this week's game. But before we get to all that, I wanted to start off by just talking about a couple, just get some people some time to join and maybe get some questions or stuff out of the way. But yeah, I wanted to go over my worst and best football predictions. So let's get ready. Yesterday, I'll start with the one yesterday I was talking about on stream. I really wanted the Vikings to to trade for Stafford right after Kirk Cousins went down. I was like, whatever we can do, like if we get the next 2-3 years with Stafford, we might be able to turn that into something that might be worthwhile. Maybe we can salvage this season and translate that into the next. But then that turned out to be, that would have been horrendous. That would have, yeah, that turns out to be a bad idea because we know the team that we got because of all the cap space that we freed up after moving on from Kirk. So bringing on Matthew Stafford, as incredible as he is, and how awesome it would be to have an arm like his at quarterback, the team wouldn't have been as good. Our defense probably would have been still, 20 to like 15th at best, maybe might push 12th best, but it wouldn't have been enough to really push us over the edge. Like Stafford would have had to do some hero things in every playoff run that we had in order to win it all. So in hindsight, I'm glad that we didn't do it, and in hindsight, it's definitely a terrible, terrible take. My God. Here's an early one of my early predictions. I was pretty fresh into being a Minnesota Vikings fan, and I think maybe it was right after the 2,000-yard season by Adrian Peterson. I made a prediction. Remember, but I don't know about if anybody remembers. Well, of course, everybody remembers. You're Vikings fans. But everybody used to call Adrian Peterson Purple Jesus as well. And I tried to dub or start within my friends group Purple Moses as the nickname for Mike Zimmer. Because I honestly thought at the time, as that defense emerged, I honestly thought that defense could win us a championship. And I truly thought that he was that good. And then now in hindsight, after all that's come out after the fact, yeah, that would have been that's a terrible, terrible prediction. But yeah, at the time we had come from, you know what I mean, like a really dysfunctional team, Leslie Frazier, and he kind of brought in stability and this hard-nosed, beat 'em up style football, like from what it looked like from the outside, and now we know what it really was. So, what a terrible prediction. I'm trying to think of another prediction. I think all of us predicted the Vikings to win the Super Bowl after that, after the Minneapolis Miracle. I don't think I was alone in that one. I felt so optimistic. I was like, I remember after that play. Do you guys remember how that play went? That whole game went down. We were literally smoking those Saints, and then halfway through the third quarter or early into the third quarter, that piece of garbage. Oh, what's the coach? It was Sean Payton, that piece of garbage, man. He called a play like a pick play where he wanted to rub Sandejo off of the route to free up. I forget who he was trying to free up. But essentially he wanted to create a bit of a collision between Sandejo and Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas like led right into it. Like he acted like, like I don't know if anyone you ever seen in the bar or at the club or at school, like that one kid that's like not paying attention to where he's going and got or whatever, and is drinking a bunch of drinks in his hands, and there's like that one, jock or that bully kid that just sees it and he just like purposely walks into him and drops all his stuff. It was like that, and My God. Um, my God. Terrible prediction. Terrible prediction. I totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's so bad. Probably shouldn't smoke before I start the stream, but that's okay. Another terrible prediction. Well, how about some good predictions? How about some good predictions? Okay. Good predictions. Maybe not Vikings related because there hasn't been a lot of times in which we've had great opportunities. Like I didn't get a chance. I didn't predict we were going to win the win the game with the Minneapolis Miracle. I thought we were going to beat them, and it looked like oh yeah, Michael Thomas. That's right. So you know how like somebody like totally like just totally like um bullies someone and knocks all their stuff out. Like he did that to Sandejo, and Sandejo got knocked out, and he was like out cold on the field. It was like a huge timeout. The Saints got a massive rest, so they were able to kind of get their lungs underneath them. It totally disrupted the game flow in which like the Vikings were in total control of, and they were behind. And as soon as Sandejo went out and he didn't return in the game, Drew Brees just picked on his backup, and he just kept driving down the field, picking on the backup and looking at every which way to get a mismatch against them. And that's how they got back into the game. And that's why karma, like I love that karma kind of stepped into that game and corrected that bullshit because it was so freaking amazing when he whiffed on that tackle and Stefan made it to the end zone. Oh man, I'll never forget that. I haven't screamed and ran around the house like that since the Raptors won the title. No, I probably it was worse when the Raptors when Kawhi Leonard made that like triple bounce shot to eliminate the Sixers. That's the last time that I lost, like truly lost it. I don't know if that happened before or after the Minneapolis Miracle, but no, before. Regardless, but that's the only other time. Um, but yeah, when Lamar Jackson had all that steam going into the playoffs, into his first playoffs, and they were set to face the Titans of all teams with an up and coming reclamation project of Ryan Tannehill over there at the time. He, yeah, they played hard nosed defense, and I predicted that they were just going to stop them from running the ball and with Lamar specifically and force him to throw the ball. And as soon as they did that, there was going to be no chance for Lamar to do it because he's so inaccurate at throwing the ball. So it happened. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there on the different failed and good predictions of my history of my tenure. I'm really happy I pegged those Bears at around 5 wins for the season this year because they're not looking too hot. And glad my read was pretty good on those guys right there. Oh, I want to show you guys something. I have something I want to show you guys. This symbolizes how much optimism I have as a fan of the sport, as a fan for my favorite players. A long time ago, a Mr. Chad Ochocinco made his way to New England. That's a good way to end the bad predictions. Actually, I honestly thought that Ocho being such an incredible talent at that time, moving into the structure um, of Bill Belichick and that system, that he would clean up a lot of these things that would basically elevate him to becoming just another beast. Like I thought he was going to be like another version, not the same as Randy Moss, because Randy Moss had that over the top thing, but like I thought he was going to be like this like X factor for the Patriots coming when he went there. I thought he was going to I thought he was going to light the league on fire, and I thought Brady and him were going to like do a lot of damage, and it didn't happen. So just symbolizes how much when I believe in something and when I see a lot of potential, sometimes I will really focus too much on that, but um, it just goes to show that that sometimes when when you just need faith, I got that in spades. So this is awesome because this year we just don't need blind faith with the Vikings. We are just that good, and the confidence comes from the how good our damn roster is, which brings me to the start of this live preview on the Minnesota Vikings versus the Green Bay Packers. My God, do we got a good one? We got the team that's being dismissed with versus the team that's getting hyped up. It's beautiful, isn't it? Uh, these Vikings have been playing out of their like lights out, way above their ceiling for in a lot of different areas of the team. You know, Sam Darnold being one of them. And um there's a lot of things that they're doing really well, and I think these three keys to success are crucial for them to continue winning games going forward, not just this week in Green Bay. First and foremost, just like the entire focus of the season, growing pains has to be a big focus week to week. We can't be getting comfortable and feeling like, well, we've cleaned it all up. We're not making careless mistakes anymore. Let's start focusing on the hard stuff, because as soon as you lose focus, that's when you start making mistakes, and that's where these unforced errors and penalties will start coming. So we have to limit careless mistakes, penalties, and unforced turnovers, because if we don't give them an inch, they can't take a mile. So as long as they don't have the opportunity to take advantage or capitalize on turnovers, then we're gonna we're gonna win the by doing so we win the by doing so we win the turnover batter. By doing so, we win the turnover battle, and we know as Vikings fans going into the season, and up to currently, if we tie or um, win the turnover battle, we're 27-0 or something like that by now. But so we're doing amazing, or 23-0 or 25-0. So it's crucial for us to limit those turnovers. My next um, key to success is that we need to unleash the full potential of Brian Flores' defense. Right now, I see a lot of talk from Packers fans about how they think they've solved Brian Flores' defense. They point to week the first game of the season with Kirk where we beat them, and he um and as his like kind of like learning curve, or the game where he kind of developed the strategies to beat him in the second game, which was came in week 17, when conveniently they ignore the fact that we had a bunch of injuries throughout the team. We were playing with a backup, so when you're playing with a backup, it just limits the ability to do a lot of things. So, therefore, it makes the offense more one dimensional, easier to stop. That means the defense is out there more often. That means they get tired more. They're more susceptible to falling for plays or schemes because they're on the field longer. They're seeing more snaps, and of course, when you got a bunch of backups out there too, when we didn't have the depth like we have this year, it didn't look great. And it's funny to me that you would that Packers fans would lean towards these stats and cling to them like it's something to be proud of, or something that holds value this year, because since that game we've essentially like overhauled the defense. We have a number of different pieces on the team that are playing lights out. We have Patrick Jones, we have Grenard, Tillery, Van Ginkel, like all these guys that came in replacement of all those guys that Brian Flores had to inherit and do the best he could with last season, are now Brian Flores guys that buy into his scheme, into his philosophy, that are leaders. Like with I imagine when Van Ginkel came into the locker room, he was he was leading through example on how to execute the drills in practice, and how to be an example as a Brian Flores type defensive player. That becomes contagious when you're in OTAs um and through training camp and through the development that we've done all off season. It's it's a big factor that Green Bay Packers fans are completely ignoring. Um, yeah, so they're really clinging on to, like, look, they're like, things they hear. Oh, Jordan Love, week 17, he diced them up for 3 touchdowns and like a bunch of yards. I see that in comments all over because I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the trenches. I'm talking smack. This is the year. I'm a firm believer that when you don't have anything to talk about, just keep your mouth shut and just wait until to see what happens, until your team can put something together or to see how your team evolves. And when you got something, I like to freaking tell them how it is. And the fact of the matter is that this team has been lights out this year. The tape they've put on record is arguably the best in the league. There's no doubt in my mind that our offense is going to have an easy time out there, as well as our defense. Um, it's funny though, because it's funny how they cling to to week 17 of last year, because it's similar to what Giants fans were doing going into the season. They were uh, clinging into that idea of like, man, last time we faced you in the playoffs, we destroyed you. We got your number. That defense can't stop us. There's nothing that you can do. Not in just clinging onto the past and not acknowledging that we had a new coordinator, basically a completely new roster aside from like Hitman Harry and a handful of crucial fundamental pieces, and they got smoked. They had no clue what was coming for them. The team started a little slow and we were away, so like Sam built up confidence, and by the end of the first quarter he was rolling, unlike at home where he just kind of seems to start banging on all cylinders. So these Packers are falling for the same logical fallacy, and it's going to be beautiful because we've been in this spot in the shadows, just hoping and wishing and praying for our shot to be the Kings of the North and to have a team or a roster that's good. And to think that this roster is this good in a bridge year, in a transition year, is incredible because it's just showing flashes of what's to come. Oh, it gives me shivers, like tingles down the back of my spine. It's incredible. My next key to success for these Vikings has to be KOC's play calling. We like it has to start at the beginning of the game with his play calling. We got to get a couple easy passes, nice schemed open easy throws for Sam to build confidence, because we are going to be away. We are in Lambeau. They're not coming to our house. So we can't rely on that home field advantage, all those penalties, those false starts, those all those things, unforced errors. We're not going to get a lot of those like we do at home. And in fact, we have to be extra focused on limiting those ourselves. That way we don't dig ourselves a hole in the turnover battle. So if we can get that confidence building quickly in that first 2-3 passes in the game, a nice scripted like first 5 passes just to get them going, sprinkle in a little bit of Aaron Jones to keep them honest, and then we can transition into the way that KOC's been play calling this entire season. I anticipated that because it was a bridge year, we would go with a more conservative approach, similar to like what we did when we had Teddy Bridgewater coming out for his first year, where it would be a ton of like quick, easy passes, just never giving the pass rush a chance to even get close to him because the ball was already gone. Just check downs to the flat and just quick 2-3 yard passes, and just dink and dunk and just hope to, the defense just kept us in the game, and we just chipped it away, chipped a big enough lead to where they couldn't beat us. And then we just run the clock and, do the clock management thing, right? Kind of like I don't know, the lame way of us squeaking out a win, I guess you could say. But KOC has totally come completely different this time round, this season round. He has full confidence in Sam Darnold. I almost said Sam Bradford. In Sam Darnold, I haven't seen him. It doesn't seem like he has ever closed any part of the playbook to Sam. I think that 97-yard touchdown, like 55 yards through the air, play call, that play action pass in our own in our own end zone, is proof that KOC has full confidence in Sam Darnold, his ability to make the throw, and also more importantly, low key, the confidence in his ability to scheme up good pass protection. Because in that one, he sent 8 people to block, and he only sent 2 receivers out, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. And then he just trusts them in general. Like, we see clean pockets the majority of the game. Yeah, we get comically bad O-line mistakes by Ingram and by Bradbury, but all in all, the majority of the plays, Sam has clean pockets, and when he doesn't, he's been able to make good things happen with his feet. Like, it's incredible. So the last part of KOC's play calling that I think that we really need to focus on, or he needs to focus on, which I doubt that he needs to focus on. I know he's going to be looking to do this. He's got to get everybody the ball on it from our receiver score. Well, maybe not everybody, but this is the first game that we're going into where we have our receivers fully healthy again. JJ's out there, Addison's out there, Naylor's out there. So if we can get those 3 guys going early with some nice, easy catches, moving the chains, and then sprinkle a little bit of Powell and Sherfield when they least expect it, maybe a little couple check down passes to Aaron Jones, or some wheel routes, or maybe some quick passes out to CJ Ham after he chip blocks. A lot of little things that can, just to get everybody involved, because we have a lot of our offense back this week. And if it doesn't scare the Packers, I'm their delusion has definitely got them over too confident. So it's going to be incredible. If it's crucial for us to get everybody rolling. Addison, freaking nice, Aaron. 68. Yeah, man, Pac's gonna get, like, man, I will be surprised. I have been saying this all week in the comments. I will be surprised if the Packers score more than 3 field goals. I do not care. We have seen in back-to-back weeks against much better rosters that are not as injured, especially at quarterback. We've had 2 quarterbacks that are fully healthy in CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy that have struggled as bad as they have. And all of a sudden, I'm to believe that Jordan Love is going to come out there and have his flu game and be hobbled around, but nothing holds him back. And he's going to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And he's going to scramble perfectly in the pocket. Are you kidding me? He's going to be, anybody that's had an injury knows that when you come off injury, you're going to have, even when you're at 100%, you're still going to have a little bit of doubt. Can I really put all that weight on there? Can I really scramble this hard? That's going to cause him to decide, I'm just going to take the sack. There's going to be a lot of options where he's going to opt to maybe even stay in the pocket longer than normal, than his instincts tell him to, because he's not confident on that knee. So to think that Jordan Love is going to come in after 2 weeks of not playing at NFL speed with a little bit of rust, that I'm sure will be gone by like 7 minutes after the first quarter, like on top and on a hobbled knee, is going to do any better than CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy? You're crazy. It's just that simple. And then lastly, which brings me to my X factor. I think this game, our X factor is going to be our secondary. The reason I say that is because we're exposing Jordan Love or Malik Willis. It sounds like it's Jordan Love. The reports are saying it's going to be Jordan Love. So it doesn't really matter to me. I could care less who it is because regardless of the fact who it is, we got another iteration of Brian Flores' defense, and he's going to create so much confusion for him, as well as make it extremely difficult for him to make a good, solid post snap read. And coupled with the secondary being, not giving an inch to their receivers and making it so that he has to hold the ball just that much longer on top of all the stuff of him having to do that, the processing to make the right read and throw. I think that's going to lead to more than just a few sacks. I think it's going to lead to a whole bunch of tip balls, maybe even some interceptions that can come off those tips, or even some good old fashioned overthrows like Jordan Love's known to do. Like, I don't forget how last season the Packers started, uh, where they lost to the Broncos, they lost to the Raiders, and I remember in late in those games, Jordan Love trying to make something, scrambling and throwing into double coverage late after trying to make something happen, and ending the game with an interception. So I foresee some sort of scenario like that happening in desperation time, an interception, and very early an early turnover, whether that's a strip sack and then a score, or even into really good into really good field position. They are playing that lights out right now, and they are on a different level. We were talking to oh over the week, one bar in Lupica show had oh my god, I'm such a tool. How do I forget? I gotta stop blazing before I jump on here. But I'm so embarrassed right now. He's one of our injured special teamers, and his name is completely slipping my mind. And I know as soon as I see his name, I'm gonna be I'm gonna laugh at myself. But anyways, he joined the show this week, and I sat and I listened to him talk about what it was like for him to come into the facility this year in the off season, and then what it's been like during this season to witness the chemistry, the brotherhood, the it seems like everybody's like finishing each other's sentences. They're like thinking they're on the same page. You know what I mean? And that sort of teamwork, it should scare the rest of the NFL, because we really even haven't hit our stride. We're still working our way up to the point where we're banging on all cylinders. We're still waiting to see, we're still having fluke mistakes. Remember that backward pass thing after that almost, collision with Aaron Jones or Ty Chandler, whoever it was, no, Aaron Jones, and then Sam trying to flip it back to him, or like just a bunch of just quirky, like, I guess, beginner mistakes. And we got to remember that Sam Darnold is essentially if you think about it, this is his first year when it comes to his post reclamation, right? He had everything that happened to him at the Jets, then with Carolina, and then he had a year to sit behind Brock Purdy and learn what it was like to see a top tier organization prepare week to week, see what a good coach looks like, how they talk to their staff, as well as coach their players. And then he saw Mr. Irrelevant, the guy that has to work harder than anybody else to prove that he belongs, because since the moment that he came into the league, everybody's been counting him out. And so Sam has said himself that he was shocked to see how he prepared, right? So going through that experience on top of the coaching that Kyle Shanahan and their coaching staff, or quarterback coaches did with him throughout the entire year to prepare him for those situations which he had to come in and replace Brock Purdy. Um, he basically just did the theory. He did very, very little practical work. And then this year he comes, KOC does a little bit more theory, kind of puts his twist on it. And now we have the first year of him trying to put what he's learned, the theory that he's spent, it's like you just spent the first 3 years of university and now you get your practical. And now you got to go out there and you got to put everything that you were taught, and put it to practice. And he has been doing an incredible job this season. Jay Ward is another incredible, another unsung hero, like unlikely hero, like just incredible hard. These are Brian Flores guys. And this defense is going to shock these Green Bay Packers on the field. And even more so and more gratifying, it's going to destroy a lot of these Packers hopes and dreams. And it's going to put so much doubt in them because they have this sentiment that they're like this big brother, that regardless of what happens, they're just luck's on their side. They're the bigger brother. They're going to just always put us in their place, in our place. And they've had really good teams to do so in the past, but we finally have top to bottom a roster outside a quarterback. If you just want to ignore the quarterback, from top to bottom, one of the best in the league. Sam Darnold has the potential to take everything that he learns, all the ups and downs this year, and become a top 15, a top 12, a top 10. We don't know. We have to wait until the end of the season to see, if he has his Eminem moment, if he takes control and never lets it go and just finds that confidence that just never vanishes from him and becomes something great. We don't know that. And it's incredible to be a Vikings fan and for something like that happen to us, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, we're sitting here with an overpaid Kirk and we're like, why not us? Why can't we have some good stuff happen to us? And look what's happening. We get rid of Kirk. We free up a ton of cap space. We bring in a freaking army of Brian Flores guys, and we have literally turned a 15th best team in the league and made us a top 7, top 5, top 3 team in the league. And we have a feel good story in Sam Bradford, in Sam Darnold, like a true underdog story, beaten down by the organization that drafted him. Bill Belichick has hilariously said that the only people that didn't believe in Sam Darnold were the Jets. Everywhere else, they like Sam. He's been beaten down, and then once that stigma has been put on him, he has then been lambasted in the media. And it's a shame because that kid is 27 years old. He's younger than Joe Burrow, and he's got a lot of football left to play, especially if he's given the opportunity to grow and succeed, which is what the Minnesota Vikings did. And this is just the beginning and just showing flashes of the greatness that this team has to offer, because we really only start next year when JJ takes over and this team progresses going forward. Like we're laughing, we're playing with house money right now. And that's why I think that X factor is going to be that secondary. I think that if we do a really good job of turning them over real early and scoring and capitalizing and demoralizing, Brian Flores is going to put that chokehold on them and just suffocate and smother them. Last week I gave way too much credit to CJ Stroud. In my prediction video, in my preview video, I said that he would, by the time he figured it out, because he's a good young quarterback, talented young quarterback, I figured by the time he figured it out, it'd be late in the second half and we'd be running out the clock. He didn't even make it to that far. He was pulled, and he has no clue what the hell happened to him. He doesn't have any idea of where to begin with. He's at square one. So next time he faces a Brian Flores defense, you better believe he's going to be worried about that matchup. And if it's in year 1 or year 2 of JJ McCarthy, it ain't going to be looking good for those Texans. So that's why I predict an early turnover, maybe in like the first quarter, maybe early in the game, and then a late pick in desperation time while trying to make something happen. By that time, I figure they'll probably pull Willis early once they Love early once they realize that the game's you know out of their control and there's nothing they can really do, and they're just going to kind of turn to him to see if they can kind of light something up with their running game and try to see if some of that works. But by that time, it's going to be too little, too late. And even if they started with that approach, uh, Willis is just going to be so confused from the get go that uh, you thought it was bad when CJ Stroud looked that bad. It's going to be humiliating when it happens to Willis. So whoever they put out there, I ain't scared. Sarah, what's up? But yeah, and yeah, Sam has to protect, and Aaron, you're 100% right. Sam has to protect the ball, limit those turnovers because it's a massive factor. And then I want to move to my last. Well, let's go to the prediction. I'll give you guys my prediction. My prediction, I've been giving it everywhere. It's 33 Vikings, 9 Packers. I literally do not think they're capable of scoring more than 3 field goals. If they score more than 3 field goals, I will be shocked. I will be shocked. It's not even going to be a thing. Um, and then my unlikely hero for this game, I think, is going to be our O line. You know, I've heard a lot of Packers fans talking about how their team seems to have our number. Some on Darisaw, on Bradbury, this and that, and they talk in this era or this confidence as if we don't have a chance, as if we didn't just face 3 really of some of the most talented pass rushers in the game. They said that Dexter Lawrence was going to destroy this game because our nose tackle or our center and etc. That was our weakness in the interior, and we blew them out. We faced the Avengers in the San Francisco 49ers, and they couldn't do anything. We faced an up and coming team that arguably has a really, really good roster, top 10, top 12, top 10 in potential on paper, and they were embarrassed. I don't think that those pass rushes, which are better than these overrated Packers, are going to do anything. These Packers defensive stats are overrated. It's like shooting. It's been shooting fish in a barrel for these guys. So what? You got 8 sacks against the Titans. We got 5 sacks and 2 picks from the 49ers and the Texans. Much better teams. You think we're gonna take it easy on you guys? We're coming. You guys are gonna get sacked so hard. If Jordan, this is how I think it's gonna go happen. How it's gonna go down tomorrow. Jordan Love might start the game. By the end of the first half, he'll be benched because after 3, 4, 5 sacks, maybe a weird tweak or a hit that looks like maybe his knee took too much of an impact, whatever it is, or just a bad look, they're gonna pull him and they're gonna throw Malik Willis out there, and he's gonna be eaten alive. There is nothing. This kid can barely do freaking pre-snap reads. You mean to tell me all of a sudden he's going to become freaking Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and be able to understand post snap and make the instant decision and make the right pass and have perfect touch and all of a sudden has the arm of Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen? Like, get out of here! You're clueless. Like you're living in delusion if you're picking these Packers. It's that simple. And as a result of all that talk, I really think that our O line has improved a lot in the last 2 years. It hasn't been that long since our O line started like 17 or 19 different starting combinations in a season. I remember when Christian Darisaw was thrown out in there after I forget who the hell our tackle was at the time. Probably Matt Khalil, because that bum Matt Khalil. He went in there. He didn't look great. I wasn't sold on Christian Darisaw then, and look at him now. And the point that I'm trying to make is that our offensive line has improved quite a bit over the years, especially in the last 2 years. And when I watch these replays, these condensed versions of these games, and the one constant thing that is in each one of these games is that Sam Darnold has all the time in the world to throw the ball. And when he doesn't, he has been good more so recently, but he's been good at throwing the ball or taking off running and trying to get something with his legs. So I have no worries about our O line. I am not worried about a team that can put 8 sacks on one of the worst teams in the league. Great. It's literally like taking it's like taking candy from a baby. It's like I can't even think of there's so many different analogies to choose from. It great, you did it. It's not impressive. You know what I mean? Like your stats are inflated against a good team. You may have gotten three freaking sacks. That's probably at most what you're gonna get, if that, this game, just because of our own errors and our own interior line issues, or just you know bad pass protection in general. Like it's going to be more our fault that we give up sacks than it's going to be you're the reason of getting them. So I love this time. Yeah, Packers are arrogant as hell, and this is our time. We have the roster, we have the team where we can say it with our chest and know that we're not just well, we're not banking on a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith, a little bit of good luck to really give us the lead. We are just that good. The moves that we've made, the personnel that we've brought in, the improvement that we've seen from KOC and his play calling from when he first started to now, the development in our O line, in our receiver room, Jalen Naylor, everybody seems to be clutch. It's unreal. So we finally have a juggernaut, a team that's worthy of talking big about. So I say, let them freaking know. Let them fucking know. You know what? Let them fucking know. Okay. It's time that we tell these Packers that your time's over. Okay. I'm not sold on Jordan Love. He had 5 good games last year. Good for you. We're going to see how you handle when you are now the hunted, when you are one of the teams that people have ridiculously pegged as contenders, or perennial playoff teams, as if you've put the time in to freaking become that, as if you've lost games and been in the trenches and made the lost those games and gone through the experiences that you need to do in order to become a strong playoff team. All of a sudden you're just gonna like put these guys out there and oh yeah, you're the Bears too. You got the same delusions as the Bears. You think you're gonna freaking put a whole bunch of new players out there that you brought in and with a new coordinator, and it's just gonna be, oh, we're gonna be Brady in their prime, Peyton in the Colts in their prime. They're gonna come out there like they've been playing for a decade together and have 3 Super Bowls behind them and the confidence in the world. No rust. Are you kidding me? Look what happened to the Bears. They'd be lucky to win 5 games. And the Packers, you're heading in that same level of delusion. So you know what? It's our time. We get to rub it in your faces every single time that we've been in the situation that you're in now, or better. You told us who you beat, right? We're going to say the same thing now. Who the fuck have you beat? You beat no one. Your garbage teams that you've beat mean nothing to me. And to us, you are part of like the bottom half of the league. Great. You won. It's funny how before this year, nobody ever was like, oh my God, Carson Palmer went down. He's probably going to be out for 4 weeks. But did you see the backup came in and won them a game? They're clear Super Bowl contenders. You know, they have injuries to key players, and some people are struggling. No, these guys, you guys have no idea. They got 8 sacks on the 27th ranked team in the league. These guys are the best. You guys have no idea. I'm sorry to get animated, you guys, but woo, but it just irks me because we've been under their thumb for so long, and it's gonna feel so good for the next year, 2, 3, 4. The JJ McCarthy era. We're gonna be the ones that are gonna be laughing at them and watching them as they try to go from quarterback to quarterback, trying to find the next Brett Favre or the next Aaron Rodgers. Because I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it when it comes to Jordan Love. And it's sad to me that you're going to throw him out there and risk him having a non-contact injury and potentially uh, end his career. Like the as much as I don't believe in him, I do want him to have at least the opportunity to prove me wrong. Like I want him to play a whole year, maybe 2 years as a starter with this new regime and show us what he's got. I don't want to see him go out there tomorrow, freaking panic when he sees freaking three guys barreling down on him, and he just reacts off instinct and his knee goes sideways. Like, what fun is that? And now we get to just laugh at the Packers because of they have one of the worst contracts in football, and they're just going to be struggling for the next 2 years or whatever when they could just be smart and sit it out and try to develop him and see if it is going to be a good game or a good division out of it. So that's why I have full confidence. But yeah, let's go back to my unlikely hero is the O line, because I think that we've been, like I was saying, that the constant thing that I see about these O lines is that Sam has all the time in the world, and they've continues to grow. They've got hilariously bad lowlights. I understand it is bad when it is bad, but I like to go back to that pass against the Giants where the touchdown pass to Jordan Naylor, where it was a beautiful play design where they used JJ as a decoy and force him to push up thinking it was a screen pass. Ingram was completely blown up on that play. Go back and watch it. He was completely blown up on that play, but because the design of that play is set so where regardless of what happened, Sam was throwing the ball when he threw it. Dexter Lawrence, or I forget, I think it was Dex, but right got there like a fraction too late, like a half second too late. And at the very least, he's giving him enough time to get that quick pass off, that dump off, or at least pick up and go, and we're gonna have a handful of those mistakes and those head scratchers every single week as we go throughout this year, because this is Sam's first year after his reclamation project. We have to look at it more like he just came out of the draft. Well, not really, because he has some experience, but it's more like his first year putting what he's learned to the test. So he's going to have these mistakes. There's going to be growing pains, and we're going to see some of these things like that weird pass that went over to Powell. That Powell did something. See, like the team is what's carrying us to victory. Sam Darnold is just excelling by playing well when his team is carrying him. So even when he goes middle of the pack, if he completes 55% of his passes, goes 175 yards, one touchdown, we still win the games if because the team is that much better around him. So that I wholeheartedly feel that. And I want to remind everybody that we're playing with house money right now. And it's only going to get better. This is just a taste of what's to come. JJ and his era is about to begin. And every lesson that we learn this year, every bump that we smoothen on the road to this championship that I think that that I firmly believe that we're on the path to, is going to be that much better, that much smoother, that much easier for when JJ takes over. That team is just going to be able to carry him into greatness. Just like I keep saying, like we have the ingredients, the foundational building blocks to a dynasty. We have that team, that roster that can carry someone to become great. Remember New England when Tom Brady got thrust into it, he just had to do enough, and he was good enough to be able to pull that off. But really, in reality, those first few years, that defense, that scheme, everything else, that roster carried him through those growing pains and as he developed to become who he became. And we have a revolutionary defensive coordinator that's put something out on the field that I know within 3 years, everybody's going to be copying. We have an incredible young head coach in KOC that's showing a lot of tremendous and poise and is doing a lot of great stuff, and a roster that can do it, that can carry a young quarterback like JJ McCarthy while he becomes who I think he will become. So, guys, it's a great time to be a Vikings fan. And I'm sorry, it's been so hard trying to keep up with the chat. But let's see. Yeah, I totally agree, Barber. They are taking a chance putting love. Um, you know, in with our defense because they're gonna dice them up, man. Ooh, yes, we will. Purple Haze podcast. Yes, we will, man. Um, and he said Jordan Love's gonna have to scratch and claw for every yard against our elite defense. I've been saying the exact same thing. It's gonna be quite the wake up call to go from playing an extremely talented Eagles roster, but that's also having a hard time putting it all together and really getting on the same page. It's like as if they've lost their championship pedigree and their confidence or something. Oh, it's funny how that happens when like elite players like Jason Kelsey and other people just like move on. Like wait, is how long has it been since Fletcher Cox retired? Either way, it's funny how things change, right? So they beat a dysfunctional team, albeit talented, and then they played two bottom of the barrel teams that you know are nothing special. And yes, you got a whole bunch of inflated stats of them, but I wouldn't be surprised that over the next 4 or 5 weeks they only get one, two, or three. You know what I mean? Like as they start facing harder and harder competition, I don't imagine their sack total going up. But you know what I do see? I see a consistent Vikings team that is consistently creating turnovers and playing the exact same week, the exact same week to week consistently, and it is causing turnovers. It is causing problems for a lot of teams, and it's so fucking good that it's happening to us, and it's so good that it's happening to the Vikings. And yeah, man, Aaron Jones is another thing. I didn't really touch too much on Aaron Jones. He's going to have a monster game, I think. He has to have a chip on his shoulder. I don't. Sometimes I buy into revenge games. Sometimes I don't. I didn't see Grenard coming out as hard as he did and as passionate as he did. So maybe there is a lot more to revenge games. And for the way that Aaron Jones, was let go, like they traded for Josh Jacobs, and then once that went through, they called him up and said, "Yo, we're moving on, deuces." You know what I mean? Like if that was me, I'd be like, "Oh my god!" I'd be like, I'd tell my agent, I'd say, "Get me on any team that plays the Vikings I mean, that plays the Packers this upcoming year. I do not care which team it is, as long as they have the Packers on their schedule." I guarantee that was one of the prerequisites that Aaron Jones had when he hit free agency. And then we come a knocking and he's like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Let me get this going over in Vikings land." So it's um yeah, like JJ needs some time to level up. That's why it's so good that everything's happening this year because the roster is only gonna improve and be better, so that next year when we transition to him, they can sustain him through the lows because he's gonna have lows. Come on, look at freaking Caleb Williams. You think I'm not dumb? I don't think that he's gonna go out there and starting next year he's gonna go 17-0. I expect him I expect us to have some incredible looking, some flashes of like incredible greatness, and then we're going to have some boneheaded mistakes because we've seen it from every rookie quarterback since the beginning of this league. It is what it is. You don't know what you don't know, and it's a thing that everybody says when you whether you where whether it is where you work at school. In your daily life, in professional sports, when you don't know what you don't know and it smacks you in the face, it hurts. And it happens to every rookie quarterback. And it's going to happen to these Packers this week because they just believe in this. Oh man, they're just so deluded. They've won for so long and they've gotten so accustomed to having a legendary quarterback that they just, regardless of what team they put out there, regardless if their team doesn't do anything in free agency, because they're notorious for not re-signing people and letting them go and not bringing in free agents, right? And yet somehow, with very, very little to no movement in the offseason, miraculously, they always come back the next year saying we're championship bound, we're this is our year, we're taking the San Francisco 49ers out in the NFC game. Like, I don't understand this level of delusion. Like, I have I've had years where I've been overconfident and I've had delusional takes and wishes and hopes. But at the same time, when those things were happening, I wasn't out there banging my chest, that year that Case Keenum took us as far as he did. I wasn't out telling everybody that we were the best team in the league. I was quietly enjoying the ride and just hoping that we won. Because as soon as we won, if we would have fucking won, I would have let everybody know, and I wouldn't have stopped talking about it. I'd still be talking about it right now. I know that 6 years later, I'd still be throwing it in their faces. Everybody, anybody who freaking brought it up, I would throw it in their face. But it didn't happen. So I didn't say anything and I kept everything to myself. And that's what good fans do. When you have trash teams, mediocre teams, middle of the pack teams like the Packers do, you keep quiet and you optimistically wait to see how it plays out. And you don't start banging your chest after you beat the Titans and the Colts that have Scam Newton 2.0, like all the athleticism, but none of the skill. And my God, and none of the PR power. Like, Jesus Christ, he doesn't have the smile either. Come on, man, like, do something. Can we get, like, maybe not like a doing the S on your chest thing? Can you do something? Maybe can you pull out the Green Lantern's ring? Can you do something cool? You're supposed to be this like incredibly freaking talented quarterback, the next coming of Scam Newton that can throw like 70-yard bombs, and you don't got a cool celebration. You don't got a cool first down. You don't got a cool here we go. Like, we got nothing from you. We don't even got the freaking stuff that made Cam Newton entertaining. Like, come on. Good gravy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Like, we're gonna I totally agree with you, Purple Haze podcast. I agree with all you guys' assertions. Sarah, Purple, Aaron, everybody that's chipped in, Barber, you guys have all been spot on. I feel like it's finally our time to enjoy something. We're finally able to have nice things in Minnesota, and man, isn't it going to be awesome? We're going to have the best receiving room fully healthy going into week 4. Like, I don't care what anybody says. We have the best group of receivers in the entire NFL, and it's not even close. Naylor, in my opinion, he just proved that he has number 2 potential. He was doing all the things that Jordan Addison does. Jordan Addison is number 2 sometimes, and last year he can step up and be the number 1. So you have a genuine superstar in Jettas. You have an all pro, borderline superstar adjacent, maybe you want to say, in Jordan Addison that could play number 1 as well. And then you have Jalen Naylor that's emerging as a guy that looks like he's got number 2 talent and he's playing third. And then we have an incredibly clutch player in Brandon Powell, and Trent Sherfield has been really solid this year. He had a couple good catches where instead of once he got that first down, he dove for the for to protect the ball. He wasn't playing fancy. He was doing what needed to be done and what was asked of him by the coaches. It's incredible to see. And they think they think when we are at full strength at receiver, we're going to have a hard time against this Packers defense. Are you kidding me? The same Packers defense that how many points did the Titans put up on them? You know what I mean? Like, if the Titans had 3 points scored and they had 12 sacks, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe they're a little bit better than they are. But like he had like Will Levis had what, like 240, 270 yards, like 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions or something like that, and a fumble. You know what I mean? Like, trash, but like he was still able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, how many passing yards, how many rushing yards did Anthony Richardson have? Like, it's not looking good, man. Aaron's from Pennsylvania, lifelong Vikings fan. I'm up here in the frigid cold north with the polar bears in Canada, about an hour away from Detroit on the Canadian side. So growing up there, the Lions were the Lions, so there was no picking them, and the Bills weren't that much better. So it was difficult to transition to one of those teams when I finally got into the NFL. Like Adrian Peterson was the reason why I got into the NFL, and he's the reason why I became a Vikings fan. So um, half man, half amazing. Can't go wrong. Anybody got any questions or any comments that they want to kind of touch over? Or let me just skim through the chat to see if I missed anything that's yeah, I'm at 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. If we hit that 5 sacks and 2 interceptions mark this game, we hit we make an NFL record, right? For consecutive games to start the season with 5 sacks and 2 interceptions. Man, 68. I wouldn't be mad. Like 68. Wait, was Brian Flores? No, Brian Flores was here when the Dolphins lit up those Broncos for 72. It's very rare that you see a team blow out a team and put up like 50, 60, 70 points nowadays, because most teams are smart enough to, like, rest their starters because they don't want to leave them out there in a blowout and let them get injured and suffer the following week or the rest of the season with um but yeah, 68 points, that would be amazing, man. um Yeah, I totally agree with the sentiments. They are going to be embarrassing their offense. Um, yeah, they're. I think the majority of their success is going to come in the second half after they're desperately trying to play from behind, and when Brian Flores switches from uh, basically tormenting the quarterback to a little bit of tormenting the quarterback, but mostly protecting for the or playing for the lead. So I think during then we're going to see some plays like that. Not to mention, um, we have Byron Murphy's had some questionable play on third and long, but even with all these things, even like the thing is that this team is so good, even with those things that are going bad, with the faults by Byron Murphy or Ingram or Bradbury, I feel like it has little to no effect on the outcome of the game. It's not last year. We're not starting off the game where we're just throwing the games away and we're just interception, like careless fumble, miscommunication, and then all of a sudden we let up a drive and now the Eagles are up freaking 3 scores on us. You know what I mean? Like we're done. I think we're past those careless mistakes. Brian Flores and KOC really made an emphasis going into this offseason, playing more, hit them hard, uh, just tough, gritty practices, so that we would transition into regular season form better than, so that we didn't have a lot of those mistakes. I feel like that's why he did what he did. Um, but yeah, it's a possibility that we could go undefeated. But in reality, I think that if we win 15, I think 15 wins is good enough to secure first overall and just clinch first in the playoffs. Home field advantage the whole way. At that point, that only leaves Seattle, Green Bay, and the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. And at that point, if we've already clinched a home field, we're going to be giving our depth players a chance to kind of like prove what they are worth, and like put them in real game situations at real speed to kind of see if we can work with them, so that that we're constantly developing, even though we're resting our starters, or even just like playing them only like the first half or some bullshit. So I could easily see that if we go 15-0, that we clinch first place, and that it's just mathematically impossible for anybody to take it from us, and then we rest. So like that's a possibility. But if it all plays out and it's just a race the entire way and then every game counts, then it's a possibility. But a lot of people are talking about how we are the same old Vikings are gonna come out, same old tropes, same old things that are just gonna happen because we're Vikings. That used to happen when KOC or Brian Flores weren't leading this team. And so like to me, yeah, we have some bad losses. We've played down to our team when we had different coaches, different personnel, different philosophies. So I don't think it's gonna be um I don't think those things are going to play a factor. I think the things that are going to play a factor are growing pains, are the mistakes in which are going to come when we get punched in our mouth. I desperately want for us to be behind in some facet, whether it's just a touchdown or 3 points, whatever it is, because that's going to put us in a situation where it's experience that we desperately need, because we need that experience for the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, if you get behind or a team punches you in the mouth, you need to have that ability. And so if you've never experienced playing from behind and we just blow everybody out all season, it's almost a disservice to us. So I really want us to play from behind at some point. Hopefully it's later down the season when it doesn't really matter, and maybe, you know what I mean? So like a loss won't play a big factor if it does happen. But it's sure as hell not going to happen this weekend. I just don't see that the Packers have a good enough roster to overcome all the things that they have to in order to beat us, especially a juggernaut like that we've been playing. I think potentially we might be playing a little bit from behind when we play Aaron Rodgers, because there's going to be a little bit of factors with jet lag and traveling. We are known to travel a week out before the game in order to acclimate a little bit better, but it's still the change of time zones and the change of pace. We might see some rust. It might be a closer game. Aaron Rodgers arguably is probably one of the only quarterbacks alongside of Matthew Stafford that probably has the processing power in order to be able to read those defenses post snap, identify what to do, what routes, in which order he needs to make his progression in order to succeed in that play. He's probably the only one that has shown in the past to be able to do so, but he's also coming off an ACL. He's older. He may have the processing speed, but does he have the same reaction time? We don't know yet, because this is his first year back. I'm gonna bank that he's not gonna be at that form in which he could beat us until later in the season, and then we're just gonna dodge a bullet in that their team is still trying to gel and kind of build that teamwork and that camaraderie and chemistry that we're already rolling with. And I think that teamwork and that philosophy on top of the schemes that we're running on offense and defense will end up winning us that game, instead of just a total domination. But I think that might be the game where we might see a little bit of playing from behind, and I'm desperate to see what that's going to look like. The Lions might force us in a little bit of that, depending, but they haven't been playing great for in a lot of people's opinion. But for me, they've already started the season with two playoff like games. And going into the season, I said that for me, the Lions, I don't really care how the season plays out, because I feel like they're still going to win enough games to get into the playoffs. And for me, it's going to be how they handle these playoff like games. So we had them play the Rams at the start of the season, and that was a playoff like game to start the season, and they squeaked out a win. And that's what you need to do in the playoffs, right? So if they're going to take the next step and become a contender and maybe even a Super Bowl winner, they need to win these types of games. And then the next one they face Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, and they get punched in the face, punched in the mouth, and they lose, right? So classic Lions, what it was last year, right? All their really bad losses. Remember, the Ravens came into their house and completely embarrassed them. They weren't ready for their gimmick and their style of play, their schemes, and before they knew it, they were in the hole and they just could not dig themselves out of it. Um, all symptoms of that they're still working on figuring out how to win in the postseason. That's why I'm not worried that it seems like the Lions are struggling, because they're going to have a bunch of easy games throughout the season that's going to level out their wins. And overall, I think I counted like maybe 6 to 8 games that you could argue are playoff late games. That's if they're they're above 500 at the time that the Lions meet them. Things can change, right? So they may end up only having 4 or 5 games this season in which they're playoff like, right? So the Lions may end up, having that, happen like last year, where they don't get tested as much as they need to in order to succeed. So we're going to see how they play out. The Bears, they are what I thought they were. I knew that they were going to have no more than 5 wins. I to be nice, I think I said 3 to 6, but maybe I only said 5 at most, because they haven't done anything. It's all new. They have new defensive coordinators. They have new players everywhere. And when you have them played together, there's going to be miscommunications. There's going to be penalties. There's going to be unforced errors. There's going to be growing pains. And for them to think they're going to come out and play like the veteran seasoned team it was ridiculous. So I knew they were going to get just humbled extremely quick, and it happened just as fast as I thought it would. So Bears are nothing to worry about. Packers are going to be, I feel like I still have it right. I think they got maybe 9 wins in this year. They're going to experience some ups and downs. They've already experienced it. Growing pains in that first game of the season. A seasoned quarterback. Do you think? Do you think that? I'm trying to think. Do you think a veteran quarterback like Tom Brady or like any veteran quarterback, right? In that situation, at the end of that game, desperately trying to win a week 1 game and taking that hit which caused the injury. Like that's a rookie mistake. It's on the same lines of when Drew Brees dove on that ball trying to save that possession in a lost season, right? Like the injury, the potential catastrophic injury was far worse than the gain of that retaining that ball, and he paid for it, right? And it's on the same lines of that, and that's something that you have to learn through making those mistakes. So he made those mistakes and he sat out for 2 weeks, and now they're going to rush him out there, and he's probably going to have a non-contact drill. He's going to scramble, his knee's going to go sideways, and it's over. Like they're going to have one of the worst contracts in the NFL. So yeah, Lefty Skull, brother. How's it going, man? Like, I think that kind of wraps up everything. That covers my keys to success. Again, just a quick wrap up. My keys to success are that we need to limit careless, clueless penalties, unforced turnovers, win the turnover battle. It's a big factor for us because we started really bad last year and we're one of the most penalized and had the most unforced turnovers and interceptions last year to start the season. We need to unleash this next variation of Brian Flores' defense because he finally has the pieces in which he wants to play chess with. And so it's so incredible to watch him play chess. So I want him to go out there and just throw everything at these Packers because they're not going to be able to handle it. Lastly, KO's my third key to success is KOC's play calling. He needs to kind of start the game with a good scripted 4 or 5 passes, get that confidence going for Sam because we are on the road, get him eased into that with some nice schemed open passes, and then just transition back into the way that he's been calling plays all season so far, and then spread the ball evenly. We have our receiving core completely healthy going into this game, and we should be just dicing them. My X factor is going to be the secondary because not only is Brian Flores and his scheme going to keep Jordan Love and Willis second guessing and thinking and holding on to the ball too long, that's going to be compounded by the secondary doing the same, because if they do really good at covering those receivers and not giving Jordan Love a read which looks like that's a 50-50 ball and might as well take the shot. If they don't even give him that and he's just forced to hold the ball, it's going to lead to more sacks, more tip balls, more interceptions, and maybe even a strip sack or a fumble. I predict a early turnover to start the game and a late pick in desperation because they're just going to be just trying anything at the end of the game. My unlikely hero is going to be the O-line. They've been remarkably good despite their comedically bad lowlights. Where as far as bad as they've been that much better when they are good. Go watch those games, even the condensed version, and just watch these drives progress. Yes, they stall. We have some little hiccups here and there, but when you look at it, Sam Darnold has all the time in the world, and the same is going to be tomorrow. It's going to shock them because they think they're going to come in here after an 8-sack performance and come in here and do the same thing to us. They got another thing coming. Tomorrow, they get humbled. We get to laugh and we get to rejoice because we finally have the better team and we get to tell them who the fuck you beat. So, any last questions? That's awesome, Lefty. Jordan loves playing on a bum knee, so like, yeah, of course. On top of that, like Jordan loves coming in here. You're gonna be looking at him like he's all of a sudden just gonna like have no rust. He's just gonna have like a perfect game. He's gonna play it way above his ceiling. It's not gonna happen. It's just incredibly unlikely. What's most likely is that he's gonna struggle. He's gonna second guess his knee. He's not gonna scramble. He might even take sacks because he doesn't have the confidence to scramble, or he'll scramble out of instinct and out of reaction, and his knee's going to buckle, and then they're going to cart him off. So it's a bad idea. I have no idea why. Why my bold prediction in my prediction video, I said that my extremely bold prediction is that we're going to have 16 total team sacks tomorrow. That's how much better I think our roster is than what their roster is in the state that they're in, with Jordan Love being injured, Jaden Reed being injured, Jair Alexander, their center's got a toe designated. Like they got like 7 people on the injury report going into the game, and we have Ivan Pace and Grugier Hill stepped up big for him last week. So our depth, thanks Kirk for leaving and for not negotiating and not being smart and taking a pay cut, because with the cap space that we got from you, our depth is what's really the our MVP so far. I am not a season ticket holder. I actually live in Canada. I've been to 5 games so far in Minnesota, and then 1 game in Detroit because I live um an hour away from Detroit on the Canadian side. Yeah, I'd love to be a season holder, and I'd love to move to Minneapolis, man, just to be around that franchise. My sister's lives in Columbus, and my family's up here. Most of my family's up in Canada, but if I ever get a chance to move to the States, I'm going to be looking to move close to Minnesota so I can go to as many games as I possibly can. But that's something for the future, and you never know. That means I have to pack up everybody and move everybody there, which is something that I would definitely do. Bring everybody that I love there and get them away from this small town and give them something awesome to experience in the land of lakes and Minnesota. So I think that kind of wraps everything up. And um, I'm like Sarnia. So you're in the area. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, it's like realistically though, like it'd be very difficult to move to Minneapolis. Like there's just so many roots in this area. My sister, there's so many. My nephews are twins. I got babies in the family. There's so much, but maybe one day, if I can afford it, maybe I can be a season ticket holder and fly to Minneapolis on a regular basis, because that would be freaking dope. Um, oh hell yeah, Lefty! I'll definitely be there. I love tailgating. The Twin Cities, man. I love that place. I love Minneapolis. Everybody's been super nice and welcoming. I've been told that it's just what they do to tourists, and it's different when you're there. But needless to say, I love it there. I come from the Great Lakes, so having lakes and all that stuff there just reminds me of home. So uh, I can't wait to go to my next Vikings game. But I think that brings me to the end. We hit an hour and a half there. I thank everybody for stopping by. Please check out my preview video as well as my prediction video. I just released those over the last couple days, and as well as hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't. Um, yeah, the reason why this team is so good that it gave me so much confidence to start this channel, because when you have a team this good, like, what are they gonna say? You know what I mean? Like, we're just gonna beat them anyway. So let's do it, man. Skull Vikings, we rule the North. I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.